Okay. Any public comments? Yes, Mr. Romanowski.
Hello.
Hi.
Just to augment what Barbara said on the Fall Festival, yeah, we'd certainly love everybody to show up. A lot of fun and games and music and food, and it's from 11 to 3 on the 17th. And I'd just like to add that if there are any folks listening or who would like to volunteer an hour or two of their time, we'd certainly appreciate any volunteers we can, to help run the rides and just direct people around, and that's the type of thing. So, anything I missed, Linda? Okay.
Is there going to be anything new?
Excuse me?
Is there anything new this year?
Clyde, our
Clyde, the canine dog,
Oh.
his officer will be there.
Nice.
And we're also looking at raising some funds by doing a fundraiser, selling daffodil bulbs, which we planted on the property. So we'll be
Oh.
getting word on that. And flyers can be found around town. If they're not already, they will be real soon. They will have pie eating, pie baking, dessert contest too, so, thanks.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Austin and I had a great time last year.
You did.
Okay, first, we will have, yes. Mr. Dixon.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. Hi, my name is Brian Dickens. I'm on the Parks and Rec Committee, but this is sort of unrelated, perhaps related. My name's Brian Dickens, and cleaning the bike path is my game tonight. I have 3 questions. Thing 1, I'm asking if there's anything we can do, or I'm seeking your recommendations, and the town managers, in closing the wall that could possibly join the bike path wall, the green wall that borders all those properties there right at our end of it, connecting it to the bridge itself so that the underside of the bridge and the area around it cannot become a dump, because unfortunately it has. And second thing is there's no trash receptacles on the bike path, and I would like there to be some. I'm sure the answer is not to have a lot, because that would be a big expense and a big challenge to maintain it, but I don't think the answer is to have none, and in my view. And thing 3, I would like to be granted permission to collect non-hazardous waste at these areas and bring it to the transfer station free of charge. I will sort it for recycling. And that is all that I have.
Mr. Hickey.
Thank you for that. I think when the bike path was approved, it was a decision intentionally made not to have trash receptacles down there and have people carry their trash in and carry their trash out. It's time and expense for Public Works stuff to do that. In my time walking the bike path, on the few times I've walked the bike path so far this year, I've not seen a problem with trash on the bike path. I'm not sure if anybody else has, but I certainly haven't.
We have had dissimilar experiences, I think. I'm sorry.
No, that's great. Yeah.
Absolutely. Could you address where you find most of the trash?
Closest to the bridge, there's places for pedestrians to sit, there's benches, and there's usually trash there.
Yeah.
And next to the bridge where the rest of the garbage is. So that's, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Manager.
not looking for an answer of
Sure.
and a recommendation, or I'm not looking, just a recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
Not looking for any long-term action, just thought I would bring it to attention. That's all.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
You're talking about the bridge as you go out from the Clerk side,
Yes.
crossing the river there. Yeah, when we were there for the summer solstice and I walked down the path to go to the dedication ceremony, I agree. There's a lot of stuff down there. It's become a hangout place almost.
Certainly under the bridge,
So,
it's an issue. I know the police department's aware of it, Public Works is aware of it as well.
yeah,
I'm not sure how we eliminate the ability for people to dispose of, in some cases, household furniture down in that area. I know the police department's trying to do what they can to enforce the dispersing of trash. It's just difficult to be there all the time, obviously. So, I would urge people, if they see anybody down there who is disposing of trash or littering, to certainly call the police department, and they will send somebody down there as quickly as they can to address the situation. But it's difficult to, we certainly don't have the ability to have somebody down there all the time. And I'm all open to suggestions. I don't know how to stop or prohibit somebody from getting underneath that bridge to do whatever they're doing under there that accumulates the trash that accumulates. If somebody has an idea of how to stop access underneath that bridge, I'm all ears.
Yeah, maybe we can look at some options as to if we can at least make it more difficult for them to get down there or something.
Sure.
And just trying to tie into that, no trash receptacles. I recognize that it'll be an expense to the town, DPW and such like that. Within a couple of days after they just put the final blacktop on the parking lot at the IGA, and they got all the lines in, I'm walking across that parking lot, and it looks horrible. There's paper, cigarettes, gum, ground into it already, only a few days after they finished it. So one thing I wanted to bring up at some point was whether we could possibly put some around town even. I know that's a discussion for another day, but I wanted to bring that up since Mr. Dickens mentioned it on the bike path.
Sure.
So,
Well, for now, on a non-significant basis, I'm going to keep on picking stuff up that I see and recycling it, and I'm even going to keep the nickels. So,
yes.
thanks for listening. And yes.
What about, okay, yeah, and then your third one about the bringing stuff to landfill at no charge. We can certainly look into it and
Okay.
figure out something for you, because I appreciate your efforts to
Thanks.
keep that clean.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment? Okay. Permits and applications, we have a voluntary boot drive for Project Playground. Tina?
How you doing?
Hi.
So the Project Playground,
Names, Names, please.
I'm Tina Santos.
And Christy Verville.
Hi.
So we're looking, as Project Playground, to have a boot drive on Front Street on Saturday, August 27th, from 9 a.m. until, I believe we had possibly put 3 p.m., but we may wrap up a lot sooner than that. We have had a lot of the equipment for the structure of the playground. It's actually due to come in tomorrow, so we're very excited with that. But there's also a lot of other high-priced dollar items that need to be repaired or renovated in the playgrounds. We're hoping to be able to kind of continue our fundraising efforts, and that day we also will have a ice cream fundraiser over at Lickety Splits from 11 to 9 p.m. So we're going to be a pretty busy day that day. So.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for them? I have a comment.
I'll be nice.
Because I hate boot drives. I hate boot drives. I think that this is a very worthwhile project. I really commend both of you for the amount of work you've done in a very relatively short period of time. Still hate boot drives.
I agree. It's the traffic and such, but, they are a great financial turnout, and so that's why we kind of decided to kind of go down that route.
I know. And I just wanted to, state publicly that that playground's been in disrepair for many years. and that you're finally stepping up. So please don't take this personally. It's not meant that way. I love that you're stepping up and fixing that playground because it was a disgrace. And I'm just thrilled. The new slide is coming in. There's going to be paint. They had, Corey was out there.
Corey from Cochrane Trucking has been a great big help.
The walkway.
He donated the time, his equipment and such, and he was able to rip up that walkway all the way up till the basketball court. And originally, we thought we were going to need Powell's and to donate some materials to be able to get the prep work for, but it looks like the area is in good shape, so it's able to be able to lay down the hot top or the black top, as my daughters would correct me in saying, but so it's getting along. We still do need surveillance cameras. Those are really high priced. The basketball area, which is a safety issue, there's a lot of, we're hoping to kind of maybe do a temporary fix of some kind when we do the paving to possibly put some blacktop down to kind of fix some of the divots and cracks and stuff. But there's been a few children who have fallen and hurt themselves, and one being Christy's son, who got rushed to the ER, which is, he's here with us now. And it's very scary. It's just, we want to make the area safe. Around the springtime, that area is used for the children because it's such a wetlands. Everything's wet. The snow is melted, so that is the only area that they're really allowed to play on is the basketball court. So again, we're just trying to fundraise and get the word out about the project and really get the the funds that are needed. So
Right. I just wish that we had some better planning, either at the school or the town level, where we don't resort to the boot drive all the time as a source of income.
Right. Madam Chair? Just a question. With school starting next week, are you going to be fencing off the work area, or how are you going to be handling just having the kids there in recess and stuff?
the slide is due to arrive tomorrow, along with, I believe, the climbing structure and the paint. So that is
Yeah,
looking
okay.
to do, from what I understand, it's scheduled to be installed this week and painted. The fence, I believe Saturday, the 27th, the fencing company is going to come in and put the cement down for the posts. And then I believe Sunday and Monday, they're going to be finishing up. And then on the 29th, I believe, on the first day of school, while Mr. Gallant and the DPW, I believe, are doing the blacktop over at the Gar Park, they're also going to be doing the walkway. So the fencing is going to be a barrier. To answer your question, it's definitely, it's going to be an L shape, so it will go along the tree line and the road from Murdoch Ave up to the corner of Grove, taking an L shape kind of over onto Grove up to the walkway or the entranceway. So it won't be boxed, I'm French, I talk with my hands. It won't be boxed in, or there will be some gates and such just to allow kind of accessibility to kind of get in and out if we need equipment to get onto the grass area and such, but it will not be kind of gated or locked off to the community, because it is a community kind of playground, even though it is on the school property. So
Great, thank you.
you're welcome.
Could you tell me more about your fundraiser at Lickety Splits on Saturday?
Absolutely. We are from 11 o'clock until 9 o'clock. The owners, Mike Lee and Penny Lee, had offered to have a fundraiser. If you go between those times and either bring a flyer that is being circulated around, either on Facebook, or if you just mention Project Playground, they'll put a check mark kind of on the bills when you're ordering food and ice cream. So on those bills, at the end of the night, the Project Playground will receive 10% of the sales that evening. We also are they're donating 2 quarts of ice cream to be raffled off. So all the proceeds for the raffle tickets will go towards Project Playground, and we're also going to have a few people kind of manning a table that will be looking to sell the calendar raffles as well as our wristbands. And since the calendar raffles start September 1st, we're trying to kind of push what we have and kind of make sure everybody has the chance to win big money, so.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I would like to move to approve the application for the boot drive by the Project Playground.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for all
Thank you for your
work.
time, I appreciate it.
Okay. And now for the Snowbound Club for a special one-day liquor permit. Hi.
Hi. I'm Rick Moulton from the Snowbound Club. I think lifelong treasurer, about 30 years now. We're looking for a one-day permit for a benefit ride for a young fellow named Tommy Fours, who about 20 months ago, he was a full-time EMT and student down in the Cambridge area and passed away of an undisclosed heart ailment. And all his life, parents never knew he had a heart ailment, and his parents approached us about a year and a half ago to do a first annual ride. They want to do a fundraiser and give it to some student who's working towards EMT in college. So we approached the town last year. We did our first fundraiser last year, and apparently it went very well for the family, and they did sponsor a student, and they approached us this year to do it again. So we're here trying to get a one-day outside liquor permit for, not liquor, beer and wine permit to have outside. They basically do a 60-mile bike ride in the morning. They come back, do a chicken barbecue in the afternoon, and they like the idea of a Sunday because they don't stay there all night. They're usually out of there by 5 or 6 o'clock, and everybody's home and back to work the next day. So we have gone through our channels. We did speak with Chief Smith, and he sent the representative over just to make sure we hadn't made any changes to the outside of the club, which we haven't done, so he's given us his blessing. I don't know if he's contacted the town manager's office yet, but that's what I'm here to try and get.
Right.
Would the student be from town?
What's that?
Would this-
I don't think he's from Winchendon. I think the father, he's actually an EMT too, and I'm not sure where they gave their scholarship last year. I don't know if it was a Gardner student or, he works down in the Chelmsford area as a full-time EMT. And I don't know if they did, I don't know. I could probably find that out for you, but,
Well, on that note, at least if in the spring, when the guidance office sends around the information for the students about available scholarships, if we could make sure that, if they're
Oh, sure.
extending it, to make sure that at least the students are aware of it, so
I'm
they have
sure
a
they would
chance to
have
apply.
no issue with that
That'd
at
be
all.
great, yeah.
I think they're just basically looking for someone who sort of followed in, I'm not saying their son's footsteps, but someone that's interested in the medical,
Absolutely.
EMT, that type of thing, because I guess the son was into it, so.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move that we approve the application as presented for the Snowbound Club.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
All right, thank
Good
you very
luck.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, next, if we could have an update from the Charter Bylaw Review Committee.
Madam Chair, if I could, while the committee's coming, representatives from the committee coming up, just to give you a little background, I had attended one of their meetings probably a month or so ago, and thought it might be a good idea to have the committee come in and just give an update to the board on where they stand, what the process is moving forward with the potential changes in bylaws that they're recommending, so the public and the board understand where they are, what the expectations are moving forward, and there's just no surprises, I guess, as we move forward. So that's why they're here this evening.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hello.
David Walsh. I'm here representing the Charter and Bylaw Review Committee. I'm the secretary. The Charter and Bylaw Review Committee, again, we agree with Mr. Hickey. We would like to provide you all with an update of our progress. The Charter Review is nearly complete. We're awaiting several recommendations from Town Council. All of our proposed revisions are now posted on the town clerk's website for review. We're planning on holding public hearings on the proposed revisions in October, and then in the interim, we would welcome any member of the Board of Selectmen, any other town board or employees or department heads, or members of the public to attend our monthly meetings. It is our intention to present our proposed revisions at the fall town meeting utilizing what's called the Home Rule Procedures Act for minor amendments. What would happen after that would be, with approval, there would be, with town meeting approval, a 2/3 vote, the proposed revisions would then be forwarded to the Attorney General's office for approval. If it's approved, the proposed revisions will then, appear on the ballot at the next town election in 2017. The proposed bylaw revisions will be presented at a future town meeting once the charter revisions are approved. And the reasoning for that is they're kind of tied together, and we have to have the charter revisions approved completely before we can go forward with the bylaw revisions.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
Just one question. When do you meet? Just to get it out there.
The second and third, the first and third? I can't even remember because we've been off. It changes sometimes, but it's
Okay.
usually the first and third.
First and third
Tuesday.
Tuesdays.
First and third
Usually
Tuesday
at 3
typically.
o'clock,
Okay.
correct?
Yeah.
Will these changes be available online on the website?
They are, as Dave mentioned just a minute ago, they're online on the town clerk's page of the website. I've got a note to see if we can't move those to the front page of the website, just so they're more, people are more aware of what we're
Prevalent.
proposing and just they're more visible. So we'll try to do that tomorrow.
Are there any major changes that you wanted to discuss?
At this time?
I don't think there's anything of major change. A lot of it was moving things, and just there was a lot of what's called scrivener errors. So we did make some recommendations regarding that. A lot of it was more just consolidating, I would say.
I'm all set.
Any questions? No? Okay, thank you for your update.
Thank you.
I might as well stay here.
And next is our meeting with Department Head Judy LaJoie.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm just going to give you a little update of what's going on in my office. Right now, on Thursday and Friday of this week, thanks to Robinson Broadhurst grant, I'll be able to upgrade my Laserfiche program, which is General Code /Laserfiche. And what this is that all our documents are OCR'd, and they are presented on, in this program, and it's searchable. So when I was the assistant town clerk, and I was full-time at the time, I was able to take all the old town reports and OCR all the old town reports so that we can go back years and years for research, because you always have to go back. And this new upgrade is going to make it easier to search. We won't have to, the way, if somebody emails me the minutes, in order for me to put it in the Laserfiche, I have to print it out first and then scan it. This will now be upgraded, so I don't have to do that. I can take it right from my email and OCR it to this new program. I can't tell you too much about the upgrade because we're having it done on Thursday, and our training will be Friday morning, so if anybody wants to come Friday morning, I can let you in. The IT, Don, will be here too to help out. Actually, Thursday will be all day with him because it's all IT stuff and I don't know any of that stuff. And there'll be 3 passwords, and we are also thinking, Mr. Hickey wants to see if we can probably do a public portal so that in the future we might be able to put this on the website so people can search the minutes themselves and all the old history of all the documents that are on the program. Does anybody have any questions on that? Yep.
OCR,
OCR?
what does that mean?
I don't know. OCR means it's
Character recognition, what's the O?
Optical character recognition, okay.
it's like scanning.
Yeah,
So
okay.
you can't change the
Yep, okay. I'm thinking open, closed, no.
OCR.
Thank you.
The next thing that's up on the calendar is the state primary, which will be, I want everybody to know, it's not Tuesday, it will be Thursday, September 8th this year, and it will be 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And our new election equipment will be used on that day. We're expecting a slow turnout, so I hope some people come in to try out the new election equipment, please, before the presidential. It'd be really good. LHS, our contract has LHS coming all day. They will come do the test deck with me to make sure the machines are, correctly counting, and then they will be here for the whole duration of the primary to train me and train my wardens and my assistant on the new machine. So that was part of the contract, that they will be here all day to do the ins and the out. So I'm really excited about it. I really like the new equipment a lot. It should make it a lot easier. The presidential might be a double ballot. So I'm thankful we have this new equipment. I thank the taxpayers for that, because it's going to make a big difference.
So what does this new equipment, what's the changes that were made from here to from back then?
The older equipment, the voting, the ballots would get stuck in the machines a lot. They'd spit them out, or they'd get stuck. Sometimes the cards, the memory cards that you have for the election equipment are obsolete. They do not make them anymore. So sooner or later, we were going to have to get them anyway. So when my card was gone, I had a backup card. And once those are all gone in the state, we don't have any more of these cards. They will not be produced anymore. So that's why the state has made it mandatory to get the new equipment. There's 2 pieces of equipment that have been approved. Now, when I used to have to do my old election equipment, I would have to test deck 1 card, put all my 50 ballots through, and then I would have to do my extra card and put all 50 ballots through, so they would be programmed for the election. Now, both cards can go in the machine together, so the test deck does both of them, and I don't even have to take the other card out. It would automatically, if something happened to that card, the backup card will automatically go into and start working.
Good technology.
Does it make write-ins any easier as well?
No. No, well, we have it's a new and improved slot, so when the write-in ballots go in, they'll be neatly put in their own little slot.
Okay.
But no, it doesn't make it easier.
Planning on writing somebody in?
Who knows?
All right, so that brings me on to the presidential election. This is really an exciting year for my office, busy year, complicated year too, because the laws are always changing. So this is the first year that we will be offering early voting for the presidential. And early voting will be from October 24th to November 4th. And early voting, I will be open on those 2 weeks. I'll be open Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. to help the voters out. So they should be able to come in at that time to be able to vote. And they can come in during office hours too. So I'm going to, Scott Gauthier, the office across the hall from me, is letting me use his office, and I'm going to set up a couple of ballot booths, and I'm going to have my wardens working for me and some election workers, and we will have them sign in with me in my office, and then we'll have them go across the street, right across the hall, they'll vote there. I have no idea how, early voting is new, so I have no idea how it's going to go, so it's going to be all trial and error this time. But we're going to try to accommodate them as much as we can. And we also will have the presidential courses November 8th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And I have to thank the fire department because they have helped us out. We had several complaints in the past about lighting, and they will be bringing their lights outside in the parking lot so that there'll be no problems with being able to get in and out of the building.
Nice.
And that's basically my year. And it's going to be busy and exciting, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
How about absentee voting? How does that work?
Absentee ballots, that's why we have early voting now. Absentee ballot is if you're going to be out of town, you're allowed to get an absentee ballot mailed to you, or you can also come in. If it's during early voting, you'll do early voting, but if it's not during the early voting time, you can do an absentee ballot. It can get mailed to you. You cannot pick up a ballot. We have to legally mail it to you, but you can drop the ballot off. A lot of the college kids want to do that. The parents can apply for an absentee ballot for them. It's called an absentee ballot for a family member, and they can just come into our office and they can fill out a form for them, and we can send them out the ballot. But they have to probably put stamps on the return envelope. Just tell them ahead of time, we don't have return stamps. Any other questions?
Anything else? No, thank you very much.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Judy.
Thank you.
Okay, under new business, we have an abatement request for water and sewer charges for 186 Metcalf Street. Mr. Hickey?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we had a resident come in a couple of weeks ago to voice some concern over their most recent water and sewer bill they received at the beginning of August. In doing some research, what we found was, as the board is probably aware, there's a meter, the master meter in your basement, and then there's a remote meter on the side of your home typically. Those remote meters on the side of your home are supposed to have the same readings as the master meter in the basement. It allows for the water department to go in and without having to go into the home, check and see what the water meter reading is, so we can determine how much water you've used for that particular billing period. The individual who does the billing in the Public Works Department for water and sewer noticed an abnormally low usage for the last billing period and asked Public Works to go out and investigate that. They did that, and they asked the homeowner, who obliged to let them into the property to take a look at the master meter in the basement. What we found out was that the remote meter on the outside of the house was reading slower than the meter in the basement, meaning the outside meter reflected less water usage than was actually occurring through the master meter. Public Works then corrected the actual billing, the actual reading of that master billing, and that bill that went out in August reflected a catch-up payment, so to speak, or a catch-up bill over double what the normal bill is for that period of time for that property. The property owner came in, voiced their concerns with the Public Works Department, and then I had the opportunity to meet with her myself as well. I think her concern is had she known the water usage was as much as it was, she would have had the opportunity to reduce the amount of water usage that she was using. Because she wasn't aware of the actual usage and what the actual bill would be, she didn't have the opportunity to modify her behavior inside the house to try to reduce those costs. I've had a couple of conversations with the property owner, the one most recently this afternoon, where I suggested that I would ask the board this evening to allow the next quarter usage to be tracked, and we could get a better sense of what the actual usage was on the property for the quarter, now that the remote meter reader, has been corrected. We then can take a look and see what the actual readings have been for the quarter in this case, get a sense of what they were in the past, and then present to the board a couple of months from now if the Public Works Director and I support an abatement for some amount of money. At this point, we just don't know how much water is actually being used on a quarterly basis. We know that the last accurate meter reading we believe we had was back in 2013, so it's been 3 years. I don't know that anybody's really questioning very vigorously the fact that the master meter was reading inaccurately. I think the frustration, if I could, from the homeowner is that, again, she has been going for 3 years with the assumption that the water bill was X number of dollars based on the consumption that hasn't really changed much, and that, the actual consumption was actually more than that, and she never had the opportunity to modify her behavior. So I'm asking the board tonight if they would allow the Public Works Director and I to track this account for during the next quarterly billing period, and bring any recommended abatement amount that either we agree to support, or if we don't come to an agreement, the property owner can come in and voice her opinion about what she feels as though is fair to her for an abatement amount. So we have a clearer picture of actually what's being used over a quarterly basis.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I'm okay with waiting that, waiting that period. Two questions. Number one, is this the lady in question? Okay. Has there been any change in your household, number of people living there or anything over these couple of years?
There was a recent change, yes, within the past 2 months. When the bill was actually larger, there was less people there.
Okay, so there's more people there now? Less now, okay, that's fine.
I'm sorry, can I just interrupt real quick? I apologize. Can we just, I know how much she was excited about coming up to a microphone tonight, but if you are going to ask her questions, I would just ask, just for quality purposes for the broadcast, if you don't mind coming up and talk into the microphone so everybody can hear what you have to say. Thank you.
Did you have another question?
Actually, I did. To Mr. Hickey, is there any way to test whether the outside meter is accurately reading with the inside meter? Can we send a program across? Can it do a self-check? I'm talking in general at this
Sure.
point.
I don't believe there is, and Al can correct me if I'm wrong,
Okay.
but the challenge, unfortunately, the challenge that we have is that the remote meters at times can be faulty. They can either be reading too fast or too slow.
Right.
The challenge we have, quality control-wise, is that we really are relying on the individual who does the water and sewer billing for us to determine whether there seems to be an inequity in the readings, whether it be too low or too high.
Right.
Had we known, or if there was a way to somehow test these remote meters on a regular basis, we'd be doing that.
Okay.
And a situation like this probably wouldn't have occurred, or
Right.
at least not for as long a period of time.
Sure. Okay. No, that's all. Thank you.
How old is this equipment?
This equipment was installed 3 or 4 years ago, Al?
Hers was installed in about 2000.
2000, so it's approximately 6 years old now.
I don't recall that.
Hmm?
I don't recall that. I've lived there 15 years, I don't recall I could be mistaken, but I don't recall it.
And again,
Would they have had to come into my house, or
to install a new meter, they would have had to come into the home.
I don't recall that?
Okay.
I can't argue with one way or another. We've got written documentation that shows that we went into a property and replaced the meters. Can I sit here with my right hand on the Bible saying it absolutely happened? I can't.
Right.
So I don't think Cindy is being dishonest. She may have forgotten, it may have been somebody else's home. I'm not sure. We believe that the meter was replaced 6 years ago.
Okay.
I think my question is kind of going much more towards the line of, what is the lifespan of this equipment, and
So we can get into a larger discussion if you'd like. My understanding of a typical water meter it really should be good for upwards of 20 years. And there have been issues with the water meters that were installed here a few years ago, that for a number of different issues that arose from the meters, that Al has been trying to much more aggressively try to deal with. Candidly, I think that there has been a greater percentage of failures of those meters and replacement of those meters than there should be. You know, we're unfortunately outside the warranty period for those meters, so I don't think that we really have any recourse back to the manufacturer or the company who we purchased the meters from. You know, one of the things Al and I have spoken about is trying to set up an amount of money that's appropriated on an annual basis to have some of these older meters replaced with more accurate, better made meters. And we're looking to try to do that probably starting in fiscal 18. We have replaced a number of meters, and Al can probably tell you how many meters that was. We have replaced a good number of meters over the last 2 or 3 years because of problems with a better quality meter that should last at that 20-year period.
Would this require a motion? Should this be done as a motion?
Oh, I have just,
Oh,
could I
okay.
ask her one question?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So I'm just curious, like, what are you gonna do different? Like, are you not gonna, how are
Well, I
you?
have educated myself on how the water meter works now. When they showed
Okay.
up at my door, I didn't even know where the water meter was, to be honest.
Okay,
They explained how it worked, but I'd also like to add that when I went down to question the bill, I was immediately told that this has been going on in my house for many, many years. They can't say how many, nobody knows. So it's an ongoing, it was not like one water bill was wrong, because if it was just one water bill was wrong, I would have said, come on down and look at my
Yeah.
meter and let's take care of it right now. I was immediately told at the water department that this has been going on for at least several years or more with my particular water meter. And I'd also like to politely dispute the amount that you said. It was a very considerable, I'll tell you the numbers if you like. It was a huge, huge difference. It was a 3-month bill. It was blown away any 6-month bill that I even had double of even my very largest 6-month bill for
Yep.
this 3-month bill.
We have a copy of it, yeah.
Imagine my shock, my
Absolutely.
biggest 6-month bill, which was unusual. Usually my bills are pretty low. If you look at them, they're low.
Right,
And,
okay.
I mean, it was a shock for 3 months.
I'm sure.
That would, if you double that and look at what it would have been if it was a 6-month bill.
so do you think that you didn't use that much water and sewer?
Nobody knows. I have no way of saying. And when the gentleman showed up at my door that day, I was under the impression that it was the actual meter. When he left, I was under the impression that somebody was coming back to change my meter. And that probably about 2 or 3 weeks went by and I never heard anything until I got that bill. I went and they said, oh, no, we're not gonna change your meter. It was something with the drive-by readings or whatever. And then
Okay.
within 5 minutes, they said, okay, we will change your meter. So I don't know. It's the length of time that I was told it was going on over a long period of time, so. I'm
But
sorry
now,
for-
we're saying she did use that amount of water, correct? She just wasn't billed for
They're
it.
saying that I am. I have no way of proving I did.
But
or
it
I
was over a span of 3 years.
So we think, based on the history of the water bills that were received prior or charged before 2013, that there seemed to be a problem with the outside water meter sometime for the last 3 years, starting in 2013.
So that's when the bills were a certain amount and then they dropped down, is what you're saying?
Yeah, so the bills in 2012 were $274 and $452. 2013, the first bill was $319, the second bill dropped to $60.
Okay.
Then they went back to, $130, $58, $152, $61, and now up to the $705.
That's catching up, though,
That's the
basically.
catch-up bill for, I think, probably 3 years. So
Okay.
I don't know how I can sit here and absolutely be positive that amount of water was used. We believe in testing the meter, that the meter was accurate down the basement. So we're led to believe that the amount of that the usage over the cumulatively over the 3-year period
Yeah.
is accurate.
Okay.
And unfortunately, the outside meter just wasn't reporting the actual usage, which caused this makeup bill for, like I said, about a 3-year period.
Okay.
Could I just ask, when was your household reduced in size? Your household,
Size, the first week of June.
in June of this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this bill was up until August. It was for 3 months, so it was,
Right.
what was it, June, July, and May. So it would have been less people and
Okay. Yeah.
considerably larger bills.
Thank you.
I don't have a problem paying, what I owe, but I have bills all the way back to 2009. They're 123, 139, 134. It did spike up for some reason around the time that Mr. Hickey, I don't know why. I had a couple issues around the house that were resolved. It did spike up, but if you go back to 2009, it's $92, $134. And based on the 1 week usage, I've done the math out on the meter that's been in my home for 1 week, it would be $149
Okay.
based on the $5.06, I think it is.
Right, the
So
rate, yeah.
my usage for 6 months should be 100, between 100, 150 or so.
Okay.
So for now, what we're going to do is wait.
If we can, if you don't mind, just, I guess you could table this until later in the fall,
Yeah.
or when the next meter reading comes out, and we can take a look at the bill and try to determine if we think an abatement is appropriate, and bring a recommendation forward to the board. And again, if Cindy doesn't agree with what Al and I are suggesting, she's more than welcome to come back and state her case, and the board can make a decision.
Sure, is that satisfactory for you?
Yeah, my only question would be how far do we go back? I mean, nobody knows. I honestly don't recall someone coming in 2000 and, it could have happened, it was a long time ago, I don't
Yeah.
recall it. I have a pretty good memory.
I don't know.
When I asked about the age of the equipment, it seems to me I remember somebody coming in my cellar, but I don't really remember because I think my kids were smaller and,
Yeah, I don't recall.
And then
but
it
I
seems to
mean,
me they changed the one on the outside of the house at a different date.
Yeah.
But I can't keep it straight myself, so.
I don't know, my only question would be how far would you go back and want me to pay the, pay the difference? I've lived there 15 years, has it been going on 3 years or 15 years?
Oh,
Nobody
no,
knows because
no. I
I
think,
don't have a problem paying what I owe, but
if you'll allow us to take a little bit more time, we'll find
Yeah,
something
I
that
would
would be
appreciate that.
satisfactory to
Yeah.
that
both.
would be great.
Sure. Madam Chair, I move that we table the abatement request for 186 Metcalf Street.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, under new business, a request to institute new water and sewer fees. If we look, Mr. Gallant has been nice enough to give us a list of new fees that he would like to charge. Thank you, Mr. Gallant.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So tonight I come in front of the board because I would like to start the discussion at least about coming up to a point where other towns have been for many years. I'm trying to get the water department to at least break even so we can upgrade equipment, do maintenance work. It's very hard to do work when we have no money. So I would like to start by doing final reads, which would be like if there's a home sale, if you have a real estate transaction. Our guys go out, check your meter, make sure everything's right. If not, we replace it. We get the final read. The executive secretary from my department produces a bill. So there's all time involved. I'm trying to be fair, but I think that $50 would be a fair price to send my guys out, because I have to send 2 at a time. So there's 2 guys for a half an hour there, plus we have to, make a bill, send it to the attorneys.
If I could just jump in, Al. So if I could, I'm sorry, Madam Chair. So the fees that we're proposing this evening are for services that we have been providing in the past, some of which haven't happened very often. Shutting off a water for a non-payment or whatnot has really not happened very often in the past, but unfortunately, with the with the recommendations from the DOR and ultimately the water shutoff policy the board has adopted, these services are going to have to be occurring much more frequently, at least initially. All the communities that Al spoke to regarding the different fees and the services that are provided charge fees similar to these. So again, what we're looking to try to do is recoup the cost for something over and above the typical responsibilities of the water and sewer department. They're supposed to go out and fix things that are broken. They go out and they read the meters. Those are all normal, everyday business, day-to-day business operations. We'll get into that in a little while, I guess, right? But special requests, because unfortunately we've got to shut off somebody's water. We've got to read a meter because a house is being sold. Somebody has attempted to have damaged the meter somehow by trying to reduce the consumption or something along those lines. So staff has had to go out and repair the meter, replace the meter, what have you. Those are the types of things that we believe the individuals who are requesting those services or need those services should be paying for. Ultimately, it's I think a pretty small amount of revenue that comes in to the water department, but it does allow us to try to keep the water rates consistent from year to year without having to propose any type of increases during each budget year. So again, this list stems from some of the new policies that were put in place by the board with the water shutoff policy, and just being more diligent in trying to collect our past due water and sewer fees. Unfortunately, to do that, we have to police some things, and these are the costs to do that. What I asked Al to do was take a look at some surrounding communities and what their charges are, and to determine what our costs are associated with performing these tasks. To Al's point a minute ago, we for safety and security purposes, we think it's good to have two people go out to a property. That way, if there's some type of a dispute, there's more than just two people there. In some situations, it's not going to be the most pleasant visit that we have to make. If there's a water shut-off or something along those lines that's going to be occurring, so having those two people there, it is more expensive, but we think it reduces the risk of some type of a claim later on. So these are the fees that we're proposing for the board tonight. And again, it's for initial discussion. If the board wants more information or doesn't agree with some of the fees, we're happy to discuss those with you. It's certainly you are the body that adopts those. But that's the rationale for wanting to bring these forward this evening, and the premise that we use to recommend the fees that we have.
Thank you.
Madam Chair? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
You can go, if you'd like.
Okay. Just a question about the hydrant shut off during emergency, like in the case of an auto accident.
If a car
Right.
were to hit it,
So who do you bill for that?
I would bill the customer's insurance.
The car
If they don't have
driver's
any, then I
insurance?
Go after them.
Right, okay. All right, just, that's how I thought it should be, want to make sure. Thank you.
So we've got, Madam Chair,
Yeah.
we've got 13 proposed fees, and I assume we provide most of these services currently. Now, are we doing those free of charge basically right now?
We are.
Okay, all right, that's the only question I had.
I think, I would like to just question, I think when I looked it up online, I was looking at the surrounding towns. And the only one I was able to find was Templeton. I believe it was Templeton who had their fees online. And as far as final meter reads, $50, I don't really have a problem with that. But I do think some of them are a little bit excessive. Like if you have to have your water shut off because of a service leak, for instance, to be charged $275, I think that's a lot, because it takes them 2 seconds to come out and shut that water off.
But you have to remember, I have to pay each of them 4 hours of time and a half.
I
Even if
understand
it's
that.
5 minutes.
But whoever's having that water shut off has probably got another expense on top of that.
I understand.
And I do feel like, you know, I know Templeton is $50. I'm not really arguing a fee, I'm arguing the excessiveness of the fee. $3,000 for a broken seal or tampering, I really didn't have a problem with that. You probably shouldn't be doing it. The one for the frozen meter, $300, that's a lot of money for somebody who, if their meter froze, maybe during the ice storm, somebody's meter froze, and they're probably gonna have bigger, better problems, on top of that meter. Their insurance might pick it up, it might not. That's a lot of money.
So I think, if I could, Madam Chair, I think there are going to be instances where there's, you know, a natural event, like a snowstorm or an ice storm, things of that nature, where people lose power for extended periods of time and they're just unable to keep their water meter from freezing. I think those types of situations are things we'd be coming back to the board with and saying, look, you know, we don't think that these instances should be billed. It's the homeowner's responsibility for those people who have water meters in their home to keep those water meters in a location where they can't freeze. You know, basically they're in basements of homes, things of that nature. So if there was a natural disaster of some kind, I think that would want to be lenient to make sure that those people, you know, don't get billed. That's not what the intent of this is. The intent is really neglect or negligence on the homeowner who has a water meter and for whatever reason, you know, they went away for the winter and they didn't ask us to shut the water off, or they didn't think they has to have their water shut off, and we've got to then go in to the property, replace the meter, repair the meter, at our time and expense. Those are the types of situations that I think we're looking to recoup the costs that we incur, not because of a town-wide emergency.
What about the outdoor meter?
Is there an outdoor meter?
Don't I have an outdoor one on my house?
You have an outdoor meter
Water meter. I think, yeah, it's on by the porch.
for irrigation. You might have an electronic device outside, but not a
Oh,
meter.
okay, that's.
Well, what
Right.
did we just talk
Yeah,
about for the
that frees
water
up.
Well, that's in
abatement?
the cellar.
That's yours.
Yeah,
Versus the
all
outside.
Is it?
manual meters are in heated spaces. The electronic parts are bolted to the outside of the house, which,
Okay,
And they're made to be out. They're made to be outside.
right, okay, as opposed to the other ones which are made to be
They don't have. I
enclosed
mean,
and
they don't have
interior.
water in them. They're just reading the meter reading from the meter. The meter is the actual piece of
Mechanical
equipment that has
device.
Tracking thing,
water
whatever,
going
yeah.
through the meter. That water then freezes and breaks
Okay.
the meter.
Yep.
and the $300 on that one is, the price of the meter is $205. So we're not really overcharging, we're just trying to,
And now, do we know that we have the legal right to charge these fees?
Sure.
Okay.
And what about the hydrant test? And you know why I'm asking that is because there was a fire across the street from me a week ago, and there were two hydrants located kind of nearby, but they used one that was a little bit far away, and I was wondering why.
I don't have an answer, but I
And
know
I'm
the
wondering,
water department was
Would the
there.
homeowner get charged for that if somebody had to test that hydrant and see if it
No,
worked?
the test would be, if you want to do like Cumberland's, and you need a pressure test, that's what that would be for.
Okay.
So you'd be charging an insurance company or a company, not an individual.
Okay.
Yeah,
Those are for if you want to build a building with a sprinkler system in it. The insurance companies ask for a pressure test, pressure and flow.
to make sure that there's enough there to make the system work correctly if it need be.
To make
A
sure there's
sprinkler
enough
system.
to run a sprinkler system.
Because again, the sprinkler system can be adjusted based on the pressure of the water coming from the hydrant or coming from the water source. So, you know, once the the water source is tested and the flow is a certain pressure, they can then adjust the suppression system to account for that specific water flow.
Sure.
What towns did you use to compare and contrast your rates with?
I have Irving, Gardner, Greenfield, Holden, Hubbardston, Paxton, Rutland, West Boylston, and Westminster. Some of them are high, some of them are low. What I did was I sat down with the water department and I said, okay, how many hours does it take to do this? How many people do you need to do it? And how much is the price of the part? All these figures are just trying to break even. I'm not making a dime on anybody. Can I just say one thing? Mm-hmm. It's probably going to shock you, but I'm going to say it.
Uh-oh.
Last year's past due water bills not collected to this point are $324,312. That's just last year's. So far this year, we're up to, now, mind you, they have till 9/5/16 to pay these bills. But right now, we're owed $410,671. If we were to go back into what went to lien to real estate, the water department could be owed $2 million. So I'm trying to get us to a point where I can say, I repaired some pipes this year. I got rid of 8 bleeders that we have running 24/7. I know it's a tough pill to swallow and the residents are gonna hate me. But in the long run, we have to do it. It's been put off for 50 years. I'm sorry.
If there are specific charges that the board's uncomfortable with, again, we're trying to establish a fee schedule based on what our costs are and what we compare to other communities with. If there's some things that you feel are too high, then, again, we're looking for something, because by not charging these fees, it's costing every water and sewer user to indirectly to provide these services. If we, it's like anything else. If we can collect revenues from some other source, I don't need as much from the water users. And that's really what this is. If the board doesn't support some or all of these and want us to adjust them, that's certainly your prerogative. We respect that, and we'll move forward with whatever you decide.
I'm fine with them.
I am. And if anyone has a problem with these fees, they're gonna come to us. So, if someone gets billed for something and they don't wanna pay it,
Is there
let us know. If
That's
they feel like they've been unfairly charged,
That's
I'm
a
sure
good
they
point.
will.
Is there an appeal process for these fees, or is it
Sure,
Is
just
it just a regular fee, right?
naturally?
It's a regular fee, but like anything else, they can appeal to, you're the water and sewer commissioners. If
Yeah.
they feel as though, a fee of some kind is unfair, they can come to you and ask for some relief. One of the things Al and I are scheduled to do at some point in the very near future is to finalize or modify the water and sewer abatement application to have it more accurately reflect the code, and we'll be taking these types of things into consideration as well. We'll incorporate these as well, so it's all encompassing.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move that the board approve as presented proposed fees for the water department services.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
And the chair will vote aye.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Al.
You're welcome.
These, can I just, I'm sorry, I probably should have, when would you like these effective, Al?
Personally, I would like to see it go in effect immediately, and the reason being is 50 days from 9/5, I will be starting to shut water off. And it's a hard pill to swallow, but we need the revenue badly.
Are there any time restraints? It has to be approved, posted?
Well,
whatever,
if
so
we,
like
if we
9/1.
decide today we can do it and say, start 30 days from now, they'll give everybody a chance. I can put it in the papers,
Right,
I can put it on the internet, I can really advertise it well
right,
and say, this is going to begin.
yeah. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I just want to make sure everybody's on the same
Should
page.
the motion be amended to state effective immediately?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Thank you.
Al, could you hang out for just a minute?
Okay, under old business, if we could have a continued discussion of welcome to Winchendon signage.
Yes.
Bree.
And I just gave Al my only copy. No, I get another one. No, I've got one. Thank you. A few meetings ago, I mentioned that the AgCom had been talking about putting up some signs in town, allowing organizations to put their logos up and stuff like that. I had come to the board with a suggestion of a standalone sign. I had the picture of basically your post and then wooden slats with a header, something like that. I did speak with Al about his role in it. Spoke with Tracy Murphy, and she indicated that if we were going to put up a separate structure, we just need building inspector approval. But I went by the existing Welcome to Winchendon signs, and in my own eye, I can't see how to put a second structure there and make it look the way I would want it to look. So what I'm proposing is, I went out and I took some measurements, and we could actually have the signs, if you will, across the bottom of the Welcome to Winchendon sign, or possibly across the top. That would just keep it all on one structure, less expense to build it, you wouldn't have to install it, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know what we would use to actually attach the signs, but we could work out something that would be relatively easy to clip on and clip off. And then we could let the different community organizations know that it's available to them if they want to, put up their Kiwanis or Lions or the church groups or whatever. At the three signs, there's one. The image was the one in Waterville, kind of across from diagonal from Lickety Splits. There's one by the Carriage House, and I believe the third one is coming down Route 12 South. And I'll be glad to answer any questions.
So would the organizations and the groups be paying for their own logo to go under these signs?
Yes.
That was my question, just who's gonna pay for it? That's what I always say.
The money lady.
Who's gonna pay for it?
Right.
And I agreed that I would do the building of the modification. I agreed today with Audrey
Oh.
that DBW would modify them, as long as they can wait till October.
October, yeah.
Anyone else?
Huh, fine with me.
I confess it's the first time I've actually walked up to one of those signs.
Now, who made these signs and put these up?
Oh, God, I don't know,
Monty Tech. I'm sorry.
That's good, though. It's
Don't know how long they've, I honestly don't know.
No, I just wondered.
I mean, over the years, there have been multiple community groups that have come together and worked on projects and then went away or whatever. The sign itself is actually printed on coroplast, the corrugated plastic. And it's got I think it's glass over it. It's very nice, nicely painted. I don't know who freshly painted. I believe the Winchendon Garden Club. The flowers are gorgeous, well taken care of. And I think we can just expand on that structure and make
Do you
it.
need the landowner's permission to alter the sign?
I don't know who owns the land that these are on.
I would guess, and I may be wrong, that they're in the town's right away, but I'd want to double check before I make a
Right.
blanket statement of that. And if there was permission needed, we could certainly reach out to those property owners and share the thoughts and just make sure they're okay with those, sure.
We would not be changing any of the footings or anything or making it bigger or such, but that's a good point. We would be changing it.
Would there be any stipulations as to how big their logo is that they are able to place on it?
We would have to restrict it. You know, I measured it, and it's like 76 inches across. So at even a 10-inch sign, that would be 7. If we do 3 rows, that would be 21. There would be space for 21 10-inch. I know we had talked about keep them all kind of looking the same. Personally, I kind of like the idea that if I see a sign with a big K in it, I know it's Kiwanis. If I see an L, I know it's Lion. So there's certain identifiable marks and things that people automatically identify with a particular group. So I would be fine with, as long as they don't exceed the overall size, if it's round or rectangular or triangular, I would be fine with that. I think it would still look good. They would not be haphazardly. And I think one of the pictures I presented kind of had pictures here, and they weren't really organized. These would just be in a straight row across the bottom of the sign, or possibly across the top if we wanted to put a third row.
It's like the brick project up front, in front of Town Hall, whatever I guess you can fit on, was it 10 by 10 you'll do, or 10 by
Yeah,
something?
you have 10-inch
Yeah.
square.
Now, are you looking for a motion tonight, or just entertainment?
I don't know if well, why don't we check with the landowners first?
The reason why I
I
ask
don't
is
know if it needs
because
to be moved.
I guess once we decide to go with this, who will they be getting in touch with to find out about this? Would it be the town manager's office, DPW, development?
I think it could be, the town manager's office. I mean, my thought would be that if it's gonna be 10 by 10, that's the size that they'll all be, and they would order those signs through the town, and they would reimburse the town for whatever they can design what they want it to look like, so if it's a big K for Kiwanis,
Right.
and have the times or the dates of the meetings, they could design what they look like, but just for consistency purposes, as far as appearance goes, I think you'd want to have the same material that's being used, the same format that's being used, and if they, if they order them through us, and that fee, I can't imagine is going to be too tremendous, and then they write a check to the town of Winchendon, and we, order that sign for them and have it installed, and it'll be consistent, which I think is what you're looking for.
Exactly, yeah. We wanted the differences, but still want it to be kind of looking the same. Maybe we can, and I could work with that with you, or create an order form.
Sure.
Or order request form or something.
We have a sign form now for requests of signs.
Okay.
So we could probably just modify a little for this. And our Purple Heart signs that we put uptown, Purple Heart Community, those are $50 a piece. So we could probably keep on that same size, maybe a little smaller.
Right, okay.
And like you said, if we order it all from our 2 vendors, they'll all be the same. And we can actually just say, if you give us the artwork you want, we'll produce that.
I think that sounds acceptable. So I guess that goes back to we vote to adopt the policy?
I think you can adopt the criteria that's been identified by the vice chair, and ask staff to determine whether or not any of these signs are on private property. If they are, to reach out to the property owner and share with them what's being proposed. and seek their approval to, access the property and install those signs when they're purchased from the town. So are they 10-inch, so I'm sorry, just to make sure I understand, are they 10-inch signs?
That, we can fit, if we do, 10-inch sign, we could fit 7 between the 2 uprights.
So is there any specific criteria on shape? So just 10 by 10, just 10 inches
As long as
around,
it
10
fits
inches
within
square,
a-
whatever it happens to be?
Yep.
Okay,
As long as it fits in a 10-inch square,
okay.
yeah.
Is that big enough? I'm just trying to think, if I'm driving by, would I notice
Yeah.
that?
Well, that's true, the ruler is 12 inches, so it's a small ruler.
Yeah,
It's
When you
11
drive
by
it,
8 or
it's
something,
over.
isn't it?
8.5 by 11.
when I
yeah.
drive.
8.5 by 11,
Yeah, I
yeah.
don't see much.
Yeah, this would be about that.
Yeah,
I won't
10
see
by
it.
10, that's, I think that's good.
And I think it's more, just,
Not at 5:30 in the morning, anyways.
yeah. I'm not gonna move it, because it's my,
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion per whatever the town
Yeah.
manager decides.
So I think the criteria, from what I understand, is gonna be no greater than 10 inches. It can be any, shape, thank you, that our sign company can make. Can't be any larger than 10 inches in diameter. We would ask for the artwork from the club who's looking to put those on. Are they all, I'm assuming, nonprofit organizations?
yes.
And they would reimburse us or provide a check to the town for whatever the fee is. We're not going to make any money on them, nor should we, to order those signs and have them delivered and installed.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next is a review of the Board of Selectmen's policies and procedures. I believe enclosed in your packet is what has been returned to us from Town Council, Copeland and Page. We also gave you a list of some of the things as Austin and I were going through it, that we were calling into question. One of the things, and I still am researching a lot of this, and as I go through the other towns, I notice they really don't have anything as far as selectmen's policies and procedures as in-depth as we do. It's not usual, it's not customary, and it's usually just what's enclosed in the charter, the town charter. This, I think, I don't know, it's really kind of bothering me because it severely limits a lot of what we can do as a board. A lot of what Copeland and Page has done is deleted. Mostly they're deletions, because if you look at the difference between, this is a Copeland and Page, the other policies and procedures, they have managed to dwindle it way down. I'm not even sure how many pages. They have deleted so much that is really unnecessary.
Yeah, I get a sense that this was the first time that they actually looked at this document. I don't know for a fact, but judging from what they've done to it, that's my sense. So it is a lot to take in.
And I think if I could, Madam Chair, I think the intent of what Copeland and Page was suggesting was they want to make sure that this document is consistent with the town charter. And where items belong in the town charter, they belong in the town charter, and they may not necessarily belong in this document. And then where things can be that may not belong in the town charter, but there are policies the board wants to adopt that can be changed without having to go to the town meeting and get those changed blessed. They would remain in the policies and procedures. Because right now, I think if you look at this document, there's a lot of things in there that are in the town charter that may not completely agree with what's in the town charter, so they have to be reconciled somehow. So the intent, I believe, was to not limit the ability of the board at all, but just to try to remove the discrepancies and duplications between the charter and the policies and procedures.
I think they were thorough. They definitely consolidated a lot, which I think was helpful. There was a lot of policies that sometimes had one line that they consolidated into another. You'll notice that they consolidated the role of the Board of Selectmen and the support staff and the town manager. They're much shorter. In the previous policies, they took up 2 or 3 pages. And they did that to quite a few. They also updated some of the policies that dealt with Mass General Law. Barbara and I were not lawyers. We don't know really what the specifics are of these laws. So I think it was definitely helpful for them to take a look. It took a while, but I think it was worth it.
I'm not so sure. I think we might really be, as I'm going back over and researching in other towns, I checked Athol, I checked Westminster, I checked Templeton. It's almost as though we're making things much more difficult than they have to be. But I think first and foremost, I think sometimes we're too concerned with wording like support staff versus executive office staff. It's really semantics.
Well, I mean, and I personally think that these policies are helpful because they fill, and hopefully there's not really a lot of holes that there has to be filled. But between the bylaws and the charter and every other law that we have to deal with, that's why we have policies in place, and that's why the town manager implements his own policies, to kind of fill those holes and to make sure that on the day-to-day, and I know we'll talk about that, the town is running smoothly.
Right.
Yeah.
But the board is supposed to work in conjunction with the town manager being the executive branch of the town government.
And these policies should promote a working atmosphere. I think maybe in the old policies and maybe in the old days they didn't, and that's why we were really thorough in this policy review. Its policies are not uncommon in the workplace, in the education atmosphere. There's policies that are there for a reason. I think it would be a mistake for us to really kind of throw a lot of these policies out because I think they're helpful.
Yeah, they should be a general guide. I mean, it's not like we're writing law.
Right.
So I don't think we want to get too specific on any of them, because it's just a general, because we have bylaws, and that's
Right.
what we follow.
Mhm.
And then we have policy and procedures just as a guide,
Mm-hmm.
so that if something were to happen, we can kind of look to see what, but I don't think it's, written in stone that we have to do that. It's just, but you're the government lady, so.
Well, and the great thing about our policies is we can review them every October.
But it's been a year
It's
now.
been- it's
We've
been
been
a year.
reviewing for a
Yeah.
year.
So we might
Well,
not
it's a
have.
huge
This
task.
has become,
It is, it's
a huge burden to, try to do something that would be worthwhile and more substantive than not.
It's more of a manual.
It is more of a manual,
Yeah.
but it does kind of dictate how we should conduct ourselves and do business.
Again, I don't like dictate, it's guide us on how we should. I don't like dictate.
I think it dictates a little bit.
It should.
Quit nodding your head.
Well, I don't get a vote here, so it's ultimately the board's decision. I mean, I think paring this down made some sense because, again, there were some duplications. And there are some areas in this document that are guidelines, but this is what you're supposed to do. and there are mandates about, when agendas get done, when board packets, those aren't guidelines, this is when we expect to get board packets on a consistent basis unless there's something out of the ordinary. So, I understand where is a happy medium, I guess, you're trying to balance between a guideline and a mandate. These are mandates, I think. I mean, that's the way I look at them. And maybe that's too severe in my mind, but, when this policy says, the board chair is supposed to see an agenda on Wednesday, and the agenda document is supposed to go out on Thursday, that's it. And I can certainly call the board or email the board and speak to the chair and say, look, something's come up and here's why we need to push it back a day. But these are the guidelines that we're working under, and I would, the chair or the board could say, well, why are we continuing to get the board packets on Friday night? That's not what our policy says. I mean, this is how you evaluate how town government's operating based on the policies and procedures that you've established. So I think it's more formal than just guidelines.
Right, and I have to agree with you, especially if we're talking about, when we receive our packets, where I'd rather see that under, these are our goals. But we don't know what's going to happen or what's going to pop up and what we have to address on a week-to-week basis. So I would rather not see that as because I read it as it's dictating to me, this is how we're going to do things. This is different than...
But I think, I apologize for...
Goals.
I think there are, there's myself, Linda, Margaret, who, put together these board packets. There's 5 board members. In this case, I think it's important to have everybody on with the same level of expectation, because you might want to have your board packet on Thursday, and Austin might not care if he gets it until Saturday. So I think it's important to set a level of expectation. You may not agree with it, but as long as the three of the 5 of you vote on it, that's the way it's going to be. So, I don't like to be...
Shouldn't that come from you as being head of the staff? I mean, they're not our staff.
If
No,
I could...
so I can, for example, I could say to Linda, I need you to, yes, you're right. And I need you to put that task away and focus on the agenda so we can get this out Thursday. And we talk about those things, and we're balancing, the workflow all the time. But I think the expectation that we have been working under now for the last few months anyways, is the expectation is the board would like to, the board chair would like to see an agenda on Wednesday. We'll have the board packets at the police department by Thursday at the end of business. And then the board can decide at their leisure, when it's convenient for them to pick that board packet up. So I agree that if I got to pull 6 people in to finish a board packet by Thursday at 5, that's what I've got to do, and that's my responsibility.
Yes.
You
At what
guys determine, this is when I want to see my board packet. And then it's my responsibility to take the resources I have available to me to meet that goal. And if I can't, I need to communicate that with you.
Exactly. There's a reason why you can't.
And
And I agree with that, but we have to have it in a book to say that?
No, I put it in his goals and objectives.
I
Rather than,
expected
because that's a
to, though. I know
goal.
it
It doesn't, every week is not the same thing, and you can't predict what each week is going to give you.
But I
So that-
expect when we do get it,
In
that
my
is
world,
when they could
that
get it to
belongs
us.
under goals and objectives. It doesn't
Yes.
belong under policy.
Yeah, there you go.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense, Mr. Happy?
That's the way that I feel. I don't, but.
Okay.
You think it's policy?
I disagree.
Okay.
These are not well, Mike's not here, but it's not, just our policies. These are the policies for the selectmen that, come after us. I think it's safe to say we won't be here forever. I think this kind of keeps, and it sounds probably like an exaggeration, but the institution in place, the process in place.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm just raising my hands whenever you're done.
I think it's, and I think it's certainly, if there was an issue, definitely with Thursdays, for example, if we're going to continue with the packets, I'm sure, the town manager and his staff would communicate with us, and we'd have to, look at the policy. I don't think this is, I think the agenda and the packet, I think it's one of those policies where it's a small policy. You know, it's one of those things where, you know, get our packets on Thursday. You know, I'm sure there's other policies in here that we could probably make a better argument that they probably shouldn't be there. So I think we might be, you know, kind of
Well,
going nowhere.
I think we should go to a system where we have a portal, where we don't have to, we can just obtain them online from a portal.
Listen,
Instead of
we
copying
are,
and-
I am happy to issue tablets to you guys and have you guys get this stuff electronically.
That's why this is
Trust
kind of-
us.
So in that case,
And that way you're not, printing, you're not copying everything, you're not wasting paper. I mean, shouldn't we all, everybody, the goal should always be to go paperless as much as possible.
right.
But, I mean, if that's what we're gonna talk about,
So if we were to move forward, let's say we do get tablets, would it still be appropriate to have the policy to have our packets ready?
To have you
Electronic packet.
upload,
Probably
have those things uploaded to a certain,
Yeah, so I mean, so the
Yeah,
policy is still, so it's,
And I mean, you can have a secured portal without having a tablet. You just have
right,
sure.
the whole cloud
right, you
thing
could,
you
yeah,
log on.
exactly.
Yeah,
If I could,
All right, are we getting anywhere?
there we go.
maybe, it's a philosophical thing. Can I just add one thing and then I'm gonna
Sure
stop
you
talking?
can.
I mean, some of these policies and procedures allow for continuity of business, and I think that, to Austin's point a minute ago, as much as I'd love to have all 5 of you here for the next 20 years, chances are one of you may decide to step down when your term is up. These policies allow a new person to walk on board, understand what the expectations are. If they don't agree with it in October, they say, you know what, I don't want my packet on Thursday, I want it on Wednesday. The board votes, the policy changes or it doesn't change. But it provides a bit of a formal understanding about what the expectations are for board members and staff with the operations of the community and the aspects of the community you guys are responsible for. So that's really,
Yeah, because we came in here, we didn't know. We didn't know how things work. So I can
Okay.
see that point.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good point. Manual.
Okay.
So, Madam Chair, would it be appropriate to take this as the first reading of the revisions as suggested?
Sure.
Okay. So I move that we,
Yeah, I agree.
so, I said I was gonna talk one more time, I didn't. I've just got one more request if the board would consider this. Staff has put together a list of things that we'd like the board to consider. Maybe the deadlines are too short, maybe they're too long. As part of the policies that have been provided to you, would it be okay if we submitted to the board a list of areas of concern or
Sure.
requests to consider?
yeah,
Maybe make some minor modifications. We're not looking for, major rewrites, but the parade permit is 5 days, and it really doesn't work if we just have 5 days. We need more time than that. So it's those types of things that we'd like to modify, and I can put it out on an email tomorrow, and you guys can take a peek at it. So when you look at your second reading, and you've got opportunities to, weigh some of the concerns that
Absolutely.
we have, that would be much appreciated.
sure.
I would also, ask you to take the time to, kind of compare and contrast. It gets hard to compare and contrast the
Yes.
old policies with the new one because a lot of it got kind of melded and moved a little bit.
Okay.
Is there a copy of it with all the deletions and everything like that?
Yeah, we can change the way that the edits are reflected on the page, so you see the crossouts and the red crossouts and the blue ads. I think Lauren put it together this way so it was easier to read what the final version might look like with the comments on the right-hand side in the margin. It's personal taste. I don't care for it the way
I
it
can't
is.
even read that.
I
I
can't
can't
either.
see those letters.
So yes, we can,
It gets so
we can-
confusing.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
It took Austin and I a long time going back and forth and back and forth,
Yeah.
and then finding, no, they moved this from,
we'll make those changes.
maybe roles of the town manager
I was gonna say,
under.
that's what they do, the attorneys with
Something else.
contracts, you redline.
Right.
That's your first.
Yep, your first edit.
It's called
Yeah.
redlining.
Mhm.
That's the program they use, that's what they do.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, but it's
So
not.
absolutely,
It's like
I would welcome,
so.
the office's changes and amendments as well as we look back
Oh,
over
absolutely.
it. Because we want to make sure, my hope is we want to make sure we do this so that we don't have to have another policy revision next year.
Yeah, every year.
Next
That's
year, 2 months from now.
Holy cow, it's been, I know.
ridiculous. I agree, Bob.
Trust me, takes a long time. We want to do it and do it right,
Yeah.
and make sure that, we put a lot of time and effort into it.
So, Madam Chair, I move that we accept the review of the Board of our policies and procedures for the first reading this evening.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
We need to deal with those when it's cooler in here. It's too hot.
I know.
Our policies and
It does
procedures
get
are
awfully
too
warm.
hot.
Okay. Next, if we could have the town manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I got some good news and some bad news, I guess, on some different things in my report. As you mentioned, the tri-board meetings, it's September 15th.
I'm sorry. Oh, tri-board, yep.
The town accountant and the school finance officer will be making some presentations at that meeting. We should have some closer to year-end information for the board and all three boards to look at and discuss, so that's good news. We hired who I think is going to be a tremendous asset to this community last week in Manuel King for the library director position. If anybody wants to learn about Mr. King, he's a resident of Orange, and he has been a tremendous community advocate down there and done a great job with Starry Night and those types of things that he helped create. So he works at the Orange Library now. He starts here September 12th, and we initially talked about bringing him in on September 12th to the Board of Selectmen's meeting. What I think might be even better is to bring him to the tri-board meeting on the 15th, because that way he gets to meet the school committee, the superintendent of schools, and the finance committee as well. So I'm thrilled to have him starting. I think he's going to be an amazing resource for the library and for the town. So it's going to be it was a great hire. On the other hand, we had our building commissioner has officially notified the town that he's leaving. His last date is the day after Labor Day, September 5th. We are finalizing a job description and an advertisement to get in the papers. Mr. Blanchard has offered during his off time to come in and help out when he can here, which we very much appreciate. Hopefully that transition time won't be too significant, and we'll be able to move forward in a different direction in the near future. The transfer station is moving forward. We had the new concrete pad poured for single stream stuff last week. We have some electrical work being done this week. We hope to have the single stream up and running and recycling effective September 1st. The way it's going to work at the transfer station, and it's probably something I candidly should have put on the agenda and didn't think of it for tonight. In talking to the company that we use for recycling, we did check prices with the company that won the state bid for the state of Massachusetts, and we're getting actually a bit better deal than we were going to get through the state bid by staying with the same company we're using now. They've recommended, and I think it makes a lot of sense, to have the trash go in the trash bin like you always have single stream recycling be all single stream recycling except for glass. So you'd throw cardboard, newspaper, cans, whatever else is recyclable, plastics, into that one recycling bin, and then all colored glass goes into another. We're able to reduce our per ton cost from $45 a ton to $31 a ton to dispose of that if the glass is separated. Because we haven't just had two separate bins up there, I don't think it's going to be an adjustment for anybody to move to three. I think it's still awfully easy to use. All the glass goes in one, everything else goes in the other, and the trash goes in the third. We save, like I said, $14 a ton to have the glass separated out. It's going to save us some money in the long run, and I think it just makes a lot of sense.
Colored glass or just?
All glass,
Okay,
colored
that's
glass,
what I was-
clear glass,
All
doesn't matter
glass,
what it
okay,
is.
like it is now.
Yep,
Okay.
green, brown, white, clear, whatever it is, it's going to go in one container. So that should be up and running September 1st. We're going to do some information I keep telling myself I'm gonna do a quick TV show that we can rebroadcast over and over again at nauseam. I haven't made it there yet, but I'm going to. Now that we've got our ability to rebroadcast TV shows up and running in the near future, I hope to do those types of things and talk about single-stream recycling with my first guest appearance by Al Gallant, who would love to talk about things on TV, I'm sure. So we're moving forward in that regard. Gar Park, Al has been working hard at getting Gar Park and the renovations completed there. You heard from the chair of the Gar Park Committee a couple of weeks ago. Al is committed to getting that done, so that grand reopening is on schedule. The police station, the curbing's been installed. The paving is going to occur sometime in the very near future. The generator has been installed. The flooring is about 95% done. We still have a soft move of September 20th is our date, where all our 911 lines and all that stuff will move from where it is now to down to the new station. Would like to if the board would like to do this, would like to have an open house, probably on a Saturday, so people who aren't working can come down and enjoy it. We're thinking sometime in the middle of October, so it gives everybody an opportunity to kind of get settled. So I think it was either the 8th or 15th, so it's the date that the board prefers. We can do it on that date. The Kiwanis Club has been generous enough to donate hot dogs and hamburgers. The day of the event, they had their chili cook-off, and they have some leftovers that they'd like to generously donate to us. Yeah, and cook for us. So they'd have a little canopy up at the police department and offer hamburgers and hot dogs free of charge, which is a nice touch. So appreciate that.
When is the seismic testing going to be done on that?
Done.
You don't know?
The seismic testing everything is built to code. So I'm not sure there's any seismic testing that has to be done. The seismic walls, the seismic requirements have been met. They've been built to the code. I don't know how we test a seismic wall other than have an event.
I thought they had a machine.
I don't know if they have a machine.
I wanted to see it.
I can verify that there's no seismic testing needed or required, and let the board know. I have not heard of a seismic test occurring because I'm not sure how you do that, other than, like you said, put a machine up against the wall and vibrate it. I don't know. So I can find that out and let the board know that. The lighting, the street lighting that's required is going in next week. There's 4 trees that we're going to be putting in, and we'll probably wait till a little bit later in the fall so the drought doesn't cause us to have a problem with the trees and have them not survive. So we'll probably wait till a more environmentally friendly period of time to do so later on this fall. The fencing will go in later on this fall as well.
What fencing?
We have fencing that's supposed to be a barrier in the back that segregates where the employees are parking. So if you're looking at the building from Central Ave, on the right-hand side of the property, there's some fencing that keeps some of the street lights from going into some of the neighbors' properties at night and whatnot. It's chain link fence that will be it will include some privacy. It's part of the site plan approval, so it's all part of what's got to be done.
I don't remember chain link fencing.
It's going to be softened by the the insert that will reduce. So it's going to be it's blackish, correct? Like a blackish that reduces the light pollution off the site. It's going to be tactful. It's going to look appropriate. We've got some arborvitaes that we planted to help soften that next spring. So again, I think it's not going to take away from the property. Happy to show you where it's going to go. I don't have a plan with me, but if you want to stop by when you're around town, I'm happy to show you.
I don't want it looking like a prison in downtown
No.
Winchendon.
No. It's not going
Barbed wire.
to do this. It won't be able. I don't think it'll be able to be seen by Central Street. So I think it'll be okay. Some other good news. The Sun, I got a call today, late this afternoon, and I have a PowerPoint presentation that was emailed me after 4:30 anyways tonight to the board, from representatives from Sun Edison and the Onyx Renewable Partners. They are, the Onyx Renewable Partners is looking to take ownership of the landfill solar project. They would like to come in front of the Board of Selectmen at your September 26th board meeting, where they're asking the board to accept the reassignment of the agreement between the town of Winchendon and Sun Edison under the exact same terms that Sun Edison's contract currently has. They have certain program criteria that they have to meet, which has to be done by January 8th to have them be eligible for program incentives that they're trying to earn. By January 8th, they have to have either the project completely constructed, I guess best case scenario, or worst case scenario, they have to have 50% of the cost of the project be expended. So by January 8th, we should have a project, if they're being honest with us, well underway. And I've emphasized with them today that it was nothing personal, but I think there's going to be some questions that will come from the board as to truly whether this is going to happen because of the ongoing delays and complications that they've had trying to get this project built. But they're on pace to get this thing moving, and I think it's great if we can actually see that occur. The bids for the library project were opened last week. The bid results for the construction, they're about $200,000 over budget. So I've got a meeting, tentatively, I have a meeting set up on Monday night, this coming Monday night, with the Board of Trustees, the architect, and the engineer to discuss what our options are, and then make that recommendation to the full board, I would assume, sometime in September. And we have candidly the same problem at a lesser degree with our town hall furnace bid. Those bids were open this morning. We unfortunately just had 2 bids come in. The low bid is about between $51,000 and $52,000 greater than the $104,000 awarded by Robinson Broadhurst. So we're going to look at other alternatives to try to get the project funded. I think the furnace here is a priority to get replaced. So we're going to determine what other funding sources may be available to us to try to meet the low bid. Our engineering firm, Ty & Bond, is going to vet that low bidder to make sure that the bidder is capable of doing the work, and hopefully get the project started later on this fall. And I'll let the board know what, if anything, ends up happening with that project. But I think it's something we have to get done. That furnace here is really on its last leg.
There must be a projected savings by doing that.
There is, there, as far as
Energy efficient.
energy usage, there is. I don't remember what that energy usage is, but again, it'll go towards the green community savings that we're trying to deal with, so there is certainly a savings in upgrading the furnace and replacing the furnace. And I think that's all I've got for you this evening. I'd be happy to answer any questions the board has.
Could we hear a little bit about the Communications Committee and what you're working on?
Sure. The Communication Committee met 2 weeks ago, and I updated the committee on what has occurred over the last couple of months. That being that we've contracted with virtual town hall to upgrade our town website. We shared with them the most recent draft of the front page of the website, which Selectman Siganowitz was there. I think the committee was pleased to see that it seems to be user-friendly. It's going to be easier to use. There's some tools that are incorporated with that website that will be, allow us or require us to keep the information on that site more accurate and up to date. So overall, again, there wasn't much to show other than the front page, but I think there was a positive response from the committee from that. We also talked and had a tour of our control room back here where they have upgraded some of the equipment that hasn't been upgraded since we have been taping the VHS tape. So a lot of that stuff is ongoing right now. There's some improvements that have been made there. Again, we're going to be able to rebroadcast meetings as often as we care to. It'll be saved off to a hard drive or the network, rather than having to save it off to a CD and hand it to people if they want to watch the meeting, and give it to Guy Corbacero so he can go back at home and put it on Facebook or YouTube. Those types of things will be loaded onto our town website, and you'll be able to watch Selectmen's meetings virtually the next day from our town website, as well as any other board meeting that's taped on either school or town. So I think we're heading in the right direction. I think the committee they've scheduled another meeting to meet again and talk about some different aspects. I've got the chairman has been kind enough to reach out to a neighboring community that's selling some of their audio-video stuff to see if there's any equipment that might be beneficial to the town of Winchendon that we can buy used from another community. And he's going to bring that information back to the next committee meeting to decide how to move forward with that. So I think it was a good kickoff meeting. We elected our officers. Selectman Signage is going to do a tremendous job as secretary of that committee. He's thrilled to be doing that, I'm sure. But overall, I think it went well.
Madam Chair, may I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Look into purchasing clip-on mics.
We talked about that, and that's a great point. So one of the things, I guess my goal has been in working with Linda and Margaret before the board appointed a committee, was to try to improve the broadcasts that occur now. And, some of the things that I've noticed, the chairman, I think, have to be a little more, it's a training thing, right? I think the board members and the chair maybe has to police this, talk into a microphone so the people at home can hear you. We had somebody in the audience tonight have to come up. It's a thing we've just got to try to improve on. At the planning board, a lot of times you'll see them at a board reviewing a plan, and they're standing and there's no microphone, or they're trying to balance a microphone and a pointer. And so we are going to order a lapel mic that you would connect to your collar to allow people to move around the room and hear what's being said.
Nice.
My opinion is we really don't need HD cameras, although they're available and maybe really nice. I look bad enough in standard definition. I don't need high def. I think the cameras work fine for what our needs are. We want to make sure that the people at home can see us,
Yeah.
can hear us, and understand what's going on, as well as the public. So we talked about maybe moving the speakers around a bit so the people in the audience can hear better. We've talked about trying to train some of the people in the back room to make sure that the volume is at a level for the speakers in the room so people in the audience can hear what's going on. Some people speak a little bit softer in the microphone than others. I know I've been accused of that somehow. So we're trying to, yes, that's true, I know. I'm trying to speak more clearly. So those types of things are happening. I think hopefully people are going to start seeing an improvement in all the different types of media that the town offers, whether it be our Facebook page or whatnot. We used Code Red last week for the watering ban, so we're trying to utilize the resources we have for those types of things. If people have any suggestions on how to improve things, we're all ears. We'd love to hear them.
Thank you.
I do like the idea of having like a TV show. once a week.
I do too. The challenge we have, candidly, is right now we have no editing equipment. And I can't say hello without a second take. So to try to have a discussion for 15 or 20 minutes without really stumbling over myself is going to be a challenge. But that's, I think, one of the things we're going to have to work on and work around. And people are just going to have to understand that, as you give a tour to the police station or we talk about the watering ban or different things, that it is what it is. We're trying to improve. But, I think it's important to, try to provide information to the community when we can.
Okay.
Madam Chairwoman,
Yes.
I believe there's an issue we need to take up under new business, the water ban.
Oh, I'm
Vote.
sorry, yes. So I apologize. So we received the recommendation from the governor's office that we institute a watering ban immediately. So I took it upon myself, right, wrong, or indifferent, to do so last week. Al had some conversations with representatives from the state environmental group who has asked that as water commissioners, the board takes a formal vote to actually institute an outside watering ban with the exception of agricultural purposes. I think that was it, correct?
I'm sorry?
DEP requires that the Board of Water Commissioners bless it, what me and him did last week. What it is I have to change our permit because our trigger points are a certain, so if we go more stringent, you have to give my blessing. So in other words, you have to vote that, yes, from now on until you re-vote, that we go no outside watering, which is what they're suggesting us to do. We just have to make it official.
Sure. I wish you would just speak to the fact that we didn't have really any rain, substantial rain, for June or July. And of course, now that it has rained last week and it's rained again last night, that doesn't stop the drought.
No, we're about 8 inches low for the year. It'll take many rainstorms and many feet of snow before we come out of this.
That there's a reason why we have to institute it now, even though we have
Right.
recently had rain, it wasn't enough.
And we had talked, if I could just add, Al and I, when we went to our regional water meeting with Ashburnham, one of the questions we talked or asked about was whether or not, with the lack of rain or lack of precipitation, should we be instituting some type of a ban? Is there a concern from the water company of being able to provide potable water to our customers? And at that point, the answer was no. So we didn't do anything up until last week because, our biggest concern was making sure that the water source for potable water was sufficient, and it has been. Now it's become more of a statewide issue, and the state's asking for, restrictions, so we are trying to abide by that to the best of our ability. So we're asking the board tonight to, I guess, reconfirm something that maybe I shouldn't have done last week on my own, but thought it was appropriate to do.
Absolutely.
What's the penalty?
There's no
And
penalty.
who's policing it?
There's policing it.
There's a ticketing policy in effect. If I catch you the first time, it's 50. If I catch you the second, it's 100.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a policy
I
that,
haven't seen that anywhere.
There
Like,
certainly
I'm not
should be.
aware of it.
Well,
Yeah, we should make people aware that there is a.
right,
We will.
Who's watching.
right. We didn't go full-blown yet because we wanted your
Okay.
permission. What we did was we just kind of put the word out a little bit, but this Friday, it's going to be in the paper. I have new signs that got printed I can put up tomorrow morning where it's a full-blown, nobody can water, nobody can wash their cars. If you have a vegetable garden, water it. We're not going to make you lose your vegetables. But it's going to get serious quick.
Do you have to actually see it?
Yes.
You take people's word, like if I.
No. I have to see it.
See it being
The
done.
police have
Okay,
the
good.
power, and I have the power of ticketing.
Okay.
But your neighbors can turn you in.
I was gonna say, yeah. Well,
Oh, yeah, I've already gotten tons
I'm
of
sure.
calls. I've already gotten,
I'm
this
sure
one's
you
doing
will.
that, and this one's doing this.
That's
But
why I
I have
asked if
to
you have
physically
to see
see
the
it.
act.
Right, I can't just
wanted to
go on
take it.
hearsay.
Gee, that grass looks wet. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Are there any 48-hour notice standards that need to be met or anything?
It'll be in the paper Friday.
Okay.
Today's Monday, so they'll,
It would be an emergency water ban.
yep,
Yeah,
we
that-
have the electronic
sign looks
sign
good
going
down
for a
there.
week.
It does.
I'm gonna put the new signs up tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say, "Arr." I'm not gonna
No,
crucify
but people should know better. at
I'm
this
just gonna
point.
go up to them and say, we have a water ban, please stop watering every day, or,
See how that goes.
and then if I see it again, then I have to ticket them. I can't.
It has been on television numerous times.
Yeah, this is from DEP. They're not fooling around on this one.
Yeah, because the sign down there's been flashing for what, a week now, huh?
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, when we made the decision, we figured we'd start putting it out there.
Yep.
Just to start,
Are
you know,
aware.
we haven't been hassling anybody, we're just kind of starting to talk about it, and then tomorrow morning it'll be serious.
I mean, it's a statewide crisis, so people
It
should be
is.
surprised.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, one moment.
Quick question. When was your meeting with the officials, I guess? When did you find out that we had to make the vote?
I received a letter, I think you have copies of them.
Yeah, I've got a copy.
On the 15th, last Monday, is when we had a meeting. And then I had a conference call with DEP and Kirk Schultz and all kinds of officials Friday at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
So Friday at 2 o'clock is when they said, you know,
Your water
where
and
it's
sewer
really
commissioner.
serious.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to find out when we found out that the water and sewer commissioners had to make that. I know that
We
town
found it
manager
this
implemented
mor-
it.
I think we found this, Al told me today.
Yeah, pretty much Friday on that
On
conference
the
call
agenda, so we just want to make sure that there's no
is
open
when they
meeting
told
question
me,
or anything.
Right.
Yeah,
it's very serious.
yep.
Get your board authority, whoever makes the decisions to make the decisions, put
Okay.
the ruling in place.
Yep. Okay.
Would you like to make a motion?
Sure. I make the motion that we implement a strict no outside water ban effective
According to the letter from DEP,
according to the letter from DEP, effective immediately.
effective immediately.
Does the letter make the exception for agricultural watering?
Agricultural, they really stressed in the conference call, do not let the farmers suffer. Help them in any way you can.
Okay,
So I took that as, you know, if there's a farmer that needs trouble, that needs help, and they're losing all their crops, and if I can help them somehow, some way,
Yeah.
I'll try.
actually, on this guidance, there is certain water users are not subject to
Right.
mandatory restrictions such
Right.
as health and safety, production of food and fiber, maintenance of livestock,
How
Right,
many
And-
farms, though, use town water?
core businesses.
They're all
True.
pretty far out.
right. I think if your
But even-
livelihood is,
People
No,
have their
yeah,
vegetable gardens and
absolutely.
stuff, so,
if your livelihood is contingent on water,
as long
you
as that's
need
clear.
to
Yeah.
water.
Yep.
Nobody's gonna turn you in, but if somebody's, you know, washing their 71 Camaro Saturday, well, maybe they shouldn't be.
I have a well.
Okay, I will second that
well.
motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And the chair votes aye.
Okay, thank you. Just to remind you, when DEP reads me a letter saying that the drought is off, I'll
Yeah.
need to come back, and we'll have to get your permission to take it off.
Sure, thank you.
Thanks, Al.
Thanks, Al.
Okay. And if that's it, we're on to our minutes for June 27th.
Did you review them, Bob?
I did.
Proof.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the minutes as presented.
Seconded?
All in favor?
June 27th minutes.
Oh, yes. Okay, seconded.
Aye.
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 And the chair votes aye. And the minutes from August 8th.
Oh. Move to approve the minutes of August 8th.
I wasn't there.
I wasn't
No,
there
no,
either.
not
Can't do
anyways.
anything.
You'll have to
Yeah.
second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Abstain.
Abstain.
Passes 2-0.
Yeah.
Do that without three,
Majority.
Only 4 members now.
two abstentions? I think we might need to revisit. I think we need to revisit those minutes.
Well, why don't we table, if you want, so we can table those to the September 12th meeting.
Can we amend
Of course.
to table those minutes
Move to-
until September
Move to
12th?
place these minutes on the,
Okay.
oh,
when-
rescind my, my motion.
Second.
Aye.
God.
Aye.
Aye.
We're rescinding. Now, though.
rescinding the motion, and now,
Yeah, I'd like to place these, the August 8th minutes on the table.
Second.
aye.
Aye.
Aye. And
So,
we will meet
Can we
again.
review when our next meetings are, please?
Sure. We will be meeting on Monday, September 12th.
Okay.
We will also be meeting that week on Thursday, September 15th, with the tri-board.
And that tri-board is 6:30, correct?
Yes.
6:30.
Okay, okay.
And then Monday, September 26th at this
okay.
point. If there is anything anyone would like on the agenda for the tri-board, please submit it. Any other questions?
Move to adjourn.
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.